Good evening and welcome to the hashtag. Technology has become such an issue these days, and frankly I'm concerned about how easy it's become to access the private information of other people via Facebook and such. I got to thinking, do any of the other big companies actually care about this? It turns out that Apple do care, and that's exactly why every iPhone is equipped with a self-destruct feature for safety. It has a little sensor in it, and if it ever detects that anyone within a 10-metre radius has got unsavoury thoughts, then the screen will spontaneously shatter in your pocket, so that your privacy is protected. At least that's what they told me when I took mine back to the shop. The problem is that everything in this world just keeps getting bigger and better, or to be more accurate, keeps getting smaller and better. The original iPod itself is now considered to be somewhat obsolete because of the general opinion that it's too big. Well, it's not too big, is it? Let's face it, if it was too big then people wouldn't have liked it in the first place. But people seem to just love how small technology can get. Companies can re-release the same gadget, or even something less practical, such as an iPod with less memory capacity, and as long as it's smaller, then people think it's the most amazing thing ever. People actually prefer something that's less functional just because it's smaller in size, which is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. I can show you a gadget of mine that's a lot smaller than everybody else's and doesn't work as well. My phone. It's rubbish. This is my old phone, the original Nokia 3310, about the same size and bulk as the original iPod. Let's face it, there is no jeans pocket, no side zipper in the entire world that is too small for us to fit this little gadget into. Anything smaller is just the company showing off. And all it means from a practical perspective, with anything smaller, is that I'm more likely to lose it in the bottom of my bag, my dog is more likely to swallow it without realising it, and the thing is more likely to fall inside my ear while I'm making phone calls on it. Not exactly practical. Exhibit A, I do have a more modern phone than this one, smaller and such, and as it happens, I can't find it. I've lost the thing. These things have become so small that it's almost impossible to fit a battery charger and adapter into them to plug the bloody things into the wall. What confuses me is that people have never before needed an iPod Nano, or Pico or Femto or whatever bloody metric prefix they're up to now, but the second that one is released, people will go to the extent that they will line up in the middle of the night out the front of the store in the freezing cold just so they can be one of the first ones to own one. Now, sir, I understand your enthusiasm, but let's put things into perspective here. You're 30 years old, which means up to this point you have survived for approximately 10,950 days on this planet without owning an iPod Nano. Now, I understand that must have been tough for you, but it's hardly like you're a man traipsing through the desert in search of water. Would it really be so hard to survive for another 6 hours without one, go home, get some sleep, pick one up from Dick Smith at 10 in the morning and save yourself $500 in the process because the price will have already gone down? So what's an upside to all of this? Well, with everything getting smaller and more compact, you can fit more things on the shelf, yes? Well, that's great, but really shelf space isn't an issue when you consider that, once again, thanks to technology, we no longer need to keep hard copies of things like payslips, receipts, invoices, birthday cards, party invitations. Thanks to emails, we no longer need to keep a single envelope in the entire house. Thanks to Facebook, we no longer need any photo frames on our shelves because all of our photos are stored on the computer, and even if you did like having photo frames on your shelf because you liked the way they looked, thanks to World of Warcraft we no longer have any friends of which to take photos to put in the photo frames in the first place. We can store everything of importance on this little gadget here. Everything. People often say that their phone is their everything, their life, their phone, they're organised in their diary. This is all you need. Therefore these days your shelf only has to be big enough to hold one thing, a tiny little receptacle for you to put your mobile phone inside, often shaped like your favourite cartoon character. That's right. While you sleep, everything of importance to you, your life, your payslips, receipts, invoices, party invitations, details intimate to your life, are being kept under the close watch of Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers. I don't know that I would trust Goomba with my valued possessions overnight personally, given that he doesn't appear to have any weapons or any means of defending himself against intruders. In fact, he doesn't appear to have any arms, so it's hard to picture him being much of a threat. Especially if Mario's interested in stealing my phone, because apparently Mario had him covered quite well. All Goomba ever did to Mario was advance on him menacingly and painstakingly slowly. In fact, if the video games are anything to go by, then if Goomba were to come across any kind of giant cliff face or abyss overnight while advancing in said manner, then he would simply continue to walk right over the edge, taking my phone and my entire life with him. Now, my shelves lie approximately 1 metre above the ground, which I consider to be too risky. If I still used my old 3310, it would be a different story, because those things were very, very sturdy and could happily survive a fall from a window from a skyscraper in Abu Dhabi. However, as we alluded to earlier, my new phone, not so sturdy, and it would probably shatter into a million pieces if a mosquito flew past. Some technology buffs will say to me that this is simply my problem that I find things too confusing. Some will say that I can't knock it unless I give it a fair try. And some will say nothing to me at all because they'll be too busy playing words with friends on their phone. And it's probably fair enough to say that I find things too confusing, but in my defence, I'll leave you with one final thought. Technology has battled for years and years to make things smaller and more pretty, and just when I think I understand the underlying motivation is to make things smaller and prettier and more convenient, just when I think I understand it all, the Apple company smiles, rubs its hands together, and brings out the iPad, a bulky, inconvenient monstrosity that would terrify Bowser himself. Ah yes, the iPad. Or, if you purchased one from another company, you might call it the imitation iPad. Some people would also call it a tablet, however I consider this name somewhat inappropriate, given that in order to swallow such a tablet you would need a throat the size of the MCG and enough saliva to flood the Grand Canyon. The iPad contributes nothing new to the world of technology that we could not have already accomplished with one of the other devices that Apple had already released. However, I'll still queue up at midnight and buy it anyway, partly because all my friends are doing it, and partly because I'm already awake at that time anyway, playing World of Warcraft against my friends in Latvia. The iPad, too big to be used as a phone, too incompatible to be used as a laptop, it's bulky enough to have been invented in the 1980s, but it makes a damn fine placemat. My name's Ashley McPherson, cheery Optus Mobile Net. Oh hey, I found it! Hello? Mum, hi! Yeah, how's Dad?